Welcome to the American Dream Podcast World Tour. Today, we are honored to host a guest from Poland. With their perspective, we'll add a fascinating layer to our exploration of the American Dream. Join us as we dive into their experiences, comparing and contrasting the pursuit of success in Poland and in the United States. Welcome aboard. This is the American Dream Podcast. I'm here in the studio with a guest from Poland, Paulina. What is your last name? Najbar?
Najbar.
Najbar.
Yes. Yep. The J is silent. It's Najbar in Polish, but it's Najbar.
And Paulina is Slavic name. You know, when I told my mom that I'm interviewing you today, she was like, oh my God, are we related? Because my great grandpa is actually Polish.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
so
exciting.
my mom has blonde hair, blue eyes. She basically kind of looks like you and you look like her daughter.
Yeah.
So of course she thinks that everyone in Poland apparently related to us. And
We might be.
she
Who
was very
knows?
excited about you on my podcast.
Aw,
So
well, that's awesome.
and I'm also very excited to get to know your story of immigration and you moving here. So let's just dive straight into it. Can you
Yes.
share a little bit about your background?
Yes. So yes, I'm Paulina in Polish. We moved to America when I was 11. And I didn't know any English. I knew a little bit, like colors and numbers, but didn't really know any English. So my family moved here. Let me just gonna start from the beginning. So my dad moved here first. He had some family here, and he joined the U.S. military. And then he applied for like my visa and my mom's visa and my siblings' visas. And so then 2 years later, we were able to come over. And so I was 11. I have a twin brother. I was 11. We came over with my mom and my twin brother. We were in 5th grade and we didn't know any English. And so it was exciting for us. My little sister, for some reason, this is like a crazy brutal story, but for some reason her papers didn't get accepted, so she wasn't able to come with us.
How old was she?
So she's 5 years younger than me, so she was 6 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Was she staying with your grandparents?
She was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, she was. And so it was really sad. Like we had to leave my little sister behind for 2 years, and it was kind of this like traumatic experience. But she is here now, so it took her 2 years for her to finally come to America, which was very exciting.
That's so strange. She was only 5. What was the reason for her not to be
know,
accepted?
I don't know, and I've asked my mom, and I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it was something with the paperwork or the process. I have no idea. But for some reason, she stayed behind and then came over 2 years later.
Good. Okay. So it was you, your twin brother, your mom, your father.
Yes.
So it was the 4 of you that moved here initially. Did you had any expectations when you were moving here?
Not really. I was just really excited. So the way I thought America was, just for movies, was like either like big cities, skyscrapers, like New York City.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. Or like farmland and those, those like red farms.
Oh, the red farm buildings?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought America was either like farmland with a huge red farms or big cities like New York.
Which honestly, you're not far from the truth.
Yeah.
That's literally what America is.
Pretty much, yeah. So I didn't really know what to expect. I just remember being super excited about it. And then like being open to the experience.
What about your language barrier and other challenges that you have faced moving here? What were some of the challenges?
Yeah, so I would say leaving all my friends and like family behind was really hard. I remember whenever I had my best friend in Poland, Patrycja, which is Patricia here. When I told her, she was like my next door neighbor. We were best friends, like from the, we like knew each other. Our parents knew each other when we were born. We were in the same grade. So I remember telling her, and she came to see us off whenever we were like leaving. And it was like super early in the morning. And I remember her like running behind the car. It was like
so heartbreaking. That's
like
so sad.
It was like a movie scene. And I remember just like in the back of the car with my like face up against the window, like, bye, I'll never see you again. So that was like kind of sad, but we were still really excited. As far as the language barrier, so like I said, we didn't know any English, just basics. So when we came, we were in 5th grade, and my parents put us in ESL, so English Second Language. And it was very basic, and my parents felt like we weren't really like progressing. So they decided just to throw us under the bus and see how quickly we can learn the language. So it took me and my brother a year to become fully fluent in English.
Yes, because of how young you were.
Yeah. So it actually wasn't very long. But it was exciting. I mean, everybody in our class were super supportive. They would the teacher would slow down and tell us things and explain things to us. And so I think just being that young, being 11 and in 5th grade, it was exciting. I just remember being really excited about it and like really wanting to learn the language and immerse myself in the language and learn new things. So
it's the perfect age too.
Yes.
That's when your brain is very flexible and you can learn.
Exactly.
And now you speak perfect English, which, you know what? People like you are the reason why other immigrants are scared to come on my show, because they're like, she speaks perfect English. She doesn't even have an accent. And I feel insecure now too. I feel like my accent is like stand out the most between the two of us, even though I feel like we sound the same. We have a similar dialect. So where in America did you move to from Poland?
Yeah, so we moved to St. Robert, Missouri, which is by Fort Leonard Wood.
Small town.
Yeah, it is a pretty small town. So it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here. So not very far from here. And then so I went to school there, graduated high school from Waynesville High School, and then moved to Springfield in 2011 to go to college. So that's how I ended up in Springfield.
Why? Why here?
I don't know. I think I was just like scared. Some of my friends were, going off to college to different places. And I think I was just nervous and scared. And also like I put myself through college. So I had to have like multiple jobs and support myself financially. My family didn't have a lot of money. Even like in Poland, that's one of the reasons we did come to America, is to have a better life and chase the American dream. So my family didn't have a lot of money. So I think I was just scared to move too far away without having that family support system.
Why did your family choose Fort Leonard Wood area? Of the entire American, of the entire country in 50 states? Why was that the option and the choice?
That's a good question. And they actually call Fort Leonard Wood Fort Lost in the Woods. But because my dad was in the military, that's a military base.
That's why.
And so that's where he was at the time when we moved here. And so we just ended up getting settled there, and we just stayed there. So
that makes sense. Yep. Okay. So speaking of the American dream, what are your thoughts on that concept? How do you define it?
Coming from an immigrant or not, like even coming from a person that was born in America, I would say an American dream just means having an opportunity to chase your own dreams and create your own path, and having equal opportunities to just live the life you want to live. And whatever work and dedication you're willing to put in, that's what you get back. And that's the lifestyle, and that's how you live your life. So I would just say having equal opportunity for all, whether you're born here or whether you're an immigrant. I think what that means is just whatever work you're willing to put in, that's what you get back. So just having equal opportunity for success.
Is that what you always thought, or did that develop over the years?
I think that's kind of what I always thought. I didn't really know. At the age of 11, I didn't really have that concept of like, what does it mean?
Well, maybe at the age of 11, you had an American dream of having lots of Barbie dolls or, lots of candy.
Yeah. I would say that's always kind of like what I envisioned in my mind. Obviously, like as an adult, I kind of got to experience that firsthand. And, because it's easy to sit here and say hard work and dedication will allow you to live a life that you want to live. And that's the American dream. But then doing it is a completely different thing, because life throws challenges at you, and you don't realize how hard things are sometimes when, you're on your own until you actually do it. So being an adult now, I would say I still have that same like concept of the American dream, but now a much better understanding of how much hard work it actually takes. I'm sure you can understand too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you think Americans have American dream, or are they living it?
That's a good question. And I would say they do. I would say the biggest difference between an immigrant versus somebody born here, their concept of the American dream would be that I feel like Americans that are born here might take that for granted a little bit, because they don't realize how it is in different countries and all the challenges that immigrants do face here. So I think that they just maybe take it for granted a little bit. And even just simple things like having a roof over your head or having food on your table. They just
No
don't
empty
realize...
shelves in the store.
Exactly. Yeah. Simple things like that I mean, even now I probably take for granted. But I would say that's, to me, I feel like that would be the biggest difference of the American dream concept between an immigrant and somebody born here is immigrants are going to take advantage of it and really, strive and try their best, because it's not like they were just born here and given it to them. They had to obviously come here, and that comes with hardships. And so
absolutely. Yes. So speaking of Americans, what aspects of American society surprised you the most so far?
I remember when we first moved here, everybody smiled at you, and like in public, everybody talks to you. And to me, that was weird because in Poland, it wasn't like that. Everybody kind of keeps to themselves more. Like if you go out in public, people kind of just keep their eyes down and mind their own business.
So similar mentality to Russia, basically. Slavic country where you have this is the face you get, and you're just like, yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah.
Without any smile.
Like, smiling.
Yes.
So that was... I would say like that was the biggest culture shock for me is how friendly people were, and like people talk to strangers and people would say, hi, how are you? How's your day? And I'm like, I don't know them. Why are they talking to me? So, yeah.
When did you started to overcome that? When did it start? So did you felt like it was creepy at first at all?
Yes.
Because that's what I felt too.
I felt overwhelmed.
Yes.
I was like, get out of my bubble. Like,
yes.
Stranger danger. Like, what's going on?
Yes.
So it was a little uncomfortable at first. But I mean, I've lived here for over 20 years now. So you kind of, that's probably how I am now. But at first, it's definitely a culture shock. And you're not used to that.
So how has your cultural background from Poland influenced your pursuit of success and the American dream?
I think personally, I've always been like a competitive person, even when I was a little kid. But I would say, so we grew up in a very small town. It was like a village, and there would be a lot of physical work. There was a lot of hard workers. Like, you have your own garden and you walk to the grocery store, and not a lot of people had cars. We didn't have a car. We had to walk everywhere. So I got to see like that hard work and how hard people worked for a living and just to sustain their life and their families. So I think growing up around that and seeing all that hard work has continued throughout my whole life, because I've always been super thankful for the opportunities that I have, and have always like been very competitive with everything that I do, just because I do, have seen that hard work and seeing that the hard work does pay off. So
any memorable experiences that you can share with us from your early days in America?
Going to Walmart.
For the first time?
For the first time, yeah.
How was it?
It was crazy to me. First of all, I don't think I've ever been in a building that big, because like I mentioned, in Poland, we had, in my little village, Komańcza, we had like one grocery store and maybe one convenience store. And so I've never been in such a big building where they sell food, clothes, accessories, like
and even
hygiene
fish
products.
And pets.
Yeah, everything under one roof. I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. And then at the time they had those like lobster, you could buy
fish area.
Yeah, like tanks where you can just buy a lobster. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you can buy everything here. I was like in heaven walking around. So for some reason, like I always remember that. Yeah, I would say that would be like
that would be the top moment.
Shocker. Yeah.
Probably seeing all the candy too.
Yes. Yeah. As an 11-year-old, definitely.
Yes. How was your brother reacting to the store?
Pretty much the same.
Yes.
Yeah. We kind of have opposite personalities. He's more the introvert. I'm the extrovert. So, but I think experiencing it with him was really cool. And we had like, the same shock to some of the same things.
Yes. So what role do you believe education and career opportunities play in your achievement of American Dream?
I graduated in Waynesville, then moved to Springfield to go.
Right.
I started at OTC for 2 years because I had the A+ program and didn't have to pay for college. So that was nice, especially that, I had to put myself through college, and then transferred over to Missouri State University where I got my bachelor's degree. And once again, I always had multiple jobs throughout college and had to support myself and had to pay for, living and food and everything. And I would say for me, growing up without a lot of money, to me, a driving factor in like the American dream was to have money. I never wanted to worry about like if I have money to buy clothes or food or go on vacations, which is like, I mean, we always had food on our table as kids. Like we never went hungry, but my family definitely struggled like with money and having money. And it was always like, this constant like worry of not having enough money. So to me, part of the American dream is just having money in my bank account and being safe and feeling safe that I do have money to support myself and feed myself and my family and go on vacations and buy whatever I want to without having to check my bank account. So that's the reason why I wanted to go to school and get a diploma and then get my bachelor's degree because I knew if I did, I can say I accomplished something and at least I can find a job that will support my lifestyle and I won't have to worry about having money.
And now you are a real estate agent.
Yes.
So share a little bit about that. Why did you decide to find yourself in the real estate here in America?
Yes. So, yes, I am a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and after I graduated college, I worked for a logistics company. So I have a bachelor's in logistics and supply chain management. I worked for a logistics company and it was in an office 9 to 5 and I just couldn't do it. It just wasn't for me. I felt like something was missing. I've always, wanted more and more and I wanted to strive for more. So between then and getting into real estate, I had so many different jobs. I just wanted to see what I like. And I mean, I worked in sales. I worked at a hotel, restaurants, marketing companies, all kinds of different jobs.
But nothing matched.
Nothing matched. And so I just kept searching and searching until finally I knew I've always wanted to get into real estate, but I never really had the opportunity to until I was like, okay, I'm going to try it and see how it goes. And so I saved up enough money to have for 6 months just in case I don't sell any houses, because that's what everybody told me. You have to have at least 6 months in reserves just in case you don't sell any houses. And so I worked on saving money enough to have it 6 months in reserves. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to hit the ground running. And I loved it. And just the fact that I get out of it what I put in was just so amazing to me, because I can work as hard as I want to, and that's going to directly reflect my own success. So I've been in real estate for 5 years now and haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. And you have lots of clients. You're obviously a successful realtor here locally. So speaking of clients and people that you serve with your services, have you encountered any maybe discrimination against you being Polish or from a different country, from Americans or maybe from other immigrants?
Not really, no. And if I have, I think I've chosen to be oblivious to that and just kind of brush it off and treat it as a joke. Of course, like our friends tease us and people sometimes say mean things, but it's never really affected me. I've always loved the fact that I am from a different country because it makes me different. And I've always really enjoyed that, and just being able to share my stories from Poland and tell people that I speak a different language. And, I grew up in Poland. So I've always just embraced the fact that I am from a different country. And maybe people have said things, but I think I've always chosen just to be purposefully oblivious to that kind of, talk and behavior.
You just know better.
Yeah, you don't let it affect you. So haters gonna hate. But
yes.
As long as we don't let it affect us, then.
Absolutely. What about stereotypes? Has anybody said anything to you like, oh, you're from Poland, you are probably blank?
Yeah. So
what is the stereotype about Poland in America?
Let me tell you. I'm sure you've heard of Polak jokes.
No.
So they're kind of like blonde jokes. People think Polish people are stupid.
What is it about Polish, Moldovan people and the stupid? Why is that the stereotype here in America?
I have no idea.
Maybe because we have the same stereotype about them?
Maybe they're it's payback. But yeah, so there's Polak jokes, and so I've kind of gotten both the blonde jokes and Polak jokes. But I mean, it's...
So what is the joke usually? Oh, you're from Poland, you're stupid?
How many Polacks does it take to screw in a light bulb? Just stupid stuff like that. Yeah.
Why? That's so dumb.
Yeah.
That is indeed dumb stereotype.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes,
agree.
I find it so strange, those stereotypes. When people meet me, they're usually like, oh, you're a Russian spy.
Yeah,
and I just kind of learned to accept it, and I'm like, yes, I am a Russian spy. Yeah, you got me. Yep, just between me and you.
Yeah, yep. I've gotten that before, which I just kind of make a joke out of it, just like you do.
Yes, just because you know better, and it's just annoying to hear it all the time.
They think they're being funny, but to you hear it all the time. You're
the time.
Haha, okay, not funny.
Yes. Another thing is too, winter time, and I don't know, maybe some people mix up your accent with Russian sometimes too, and they're like, oh, you probably don't get cold. This one is just kills me every time. Yeah. I just want to get rid of that stereotype because we have 4 seasons, just like the rest of the world. I mean, unless you're in Antarctica, of course,
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to other immigrants from Poland or maybe elsewhere who are starting to go towards their American dream? Yeah.
So I would say don't be scared and don't overcomplicate it. A lot of people with, their dreams that they have and goals that they set for themselves, it's easy to kind of get sidetracked and overcomplicate things. But if you just, I like to keep it simple. Just focus on your goals and just work hard to get them. The biggest thing is just believing in yourself and having a good support system, whether that's your family or your friends, that you can surround yourself, that they're not going to tell you that your goal is stupid. They're going to support you and they're going to be there for you. So as long as you have a vision of what you want to achieve and where you want to get in life and just doing everything every day to strive towards that, I think that's the most important thing. And just being consistent. Even on hard days, you still got to get out of bed and chase your dreams. And I've always been a pretty positive person. And so I don't talk negatively. So sometimes people will look at me and oh, you've had it easy. But just because I don't complain about things.
You did not had it easy.
Yeah.
You came from a different country. You're the farthest thing from having it easy.
Yeah. But if you have that attitude, people don't see the hardships that you've been through. And so I would say even on those hard days, everybody has them. Just still show up, get out of bed and get out there and chase your dreams and don't overcomplicate it.
And finally, before we hop into our break, looking back at your journey, what was your proudest moment?
I would say graduating from college. Just because I did work so hard to achieve that goal. And I say I've done it on myself, but I obviously my family still supported me. I have an amazing family, very supportive. And I'm so blessed to have so many great friends, but I wanted to graduate from college just to say that I did it and I achieved something. And so I always look back, even though I don't use my college degree now, I can always look back and say and be very proud of the fact that I did graduate from college and was able to achieve that.
Welcome back. You're listening to the American Dream Podcast, and I'm here with Miss Poland 2024, Paulina Najbar. Yes. Najbar. Yes, we got it. So, as a native from Poland, what do you believe sets your country apart as a travel destination? I've seen lots of travel shows about your home country, and I know how beautiful it is. So, the answer might be obvious. But I was watching it from a Russian person perspective. I've never been to Poland. So, of course, to me, it was interesting because it was new. But you are native from Poland. So what do you think it is?
So Poland is very beautiful, and I may be biased, but there's a lot of history in Poland. So whenever I ask people, like when I hear that somebody has been to Europe, and I ask them what countries they've been to, it's very rare that they say they've been to Poland. And when they do, I get so excited. But Poland has a lot of beautiful history, a lot of beautiful architecture. So for people that like old buildings and history and just walking down the street and being able to see something that has been completely torn down during World War II and then rebuilt and just kind of like feeling that history, Poland would be the perfect country to visit. There's a lot of beautiful old cities like that. And then we also have a lot of mountains in the southern Poland. We have the Bieszczady Mountains, we have Tatry. So there's a lot of beautiful, like, you know, for people that like hiking and outdoors, there's also a lot of beautiful places in Poland for that. But I would say a lot of history in Poland. Yes.
Where to start your trip in Poland? Is it better to land in the capital of the country, or is it better to go to a smaller town first?
I would say, so Warsaw, Warszawa, is the capital of Poland. And that is a very popular destination. That's kind of where you can go to Old Town. And that's literally during World War II, Old Town was completely torn down, and that's when, you know, the Nazis tore it down and they rebuilt it from the ground up. So I would say that's worth visiting. And then Kraków is another very popular destination. Actually, the Wieliczka salt mine is one of the world's oldest salt mines. So that's a very popular destination there. And it was built in the 13th century. And one of the only underground churches in Europe is actually located at the Wieliczka salt mine. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And once again, it has a lot of like, you know, historic old buildings, a lot of beautiful architecture.
What is the religion? You spoke a little bit about churches. What is the religion in Poland? Is it Orthodox Christian, just like in other Slavic countries?
Yes. So primarily Orthodox Christian and then Catholic. So I actually grew up Catholic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You know, based on what Catholic churches follows, like icons and everything, I'm starting to think that I grew up Catholic too, because, you know, you have those icons in churches and the cross and everything. So when my boyfriend saw all of that, he was like, that's like Catholic thing. And then when we get baptized too, that's another thing. So I'm completely lost what I am at this point. I just know what I follow. So I'm always interested to learn about new religions.
Yeah.
So what about your hometown? Would you recommend going there? You said that it's pretty small.
Yes. Yes. So my hometown, my village, very small. I actually Googled this morning what the population was, and it was like 800 or like 880, tiny. Like very, very tiny. It's a small village. But it has to me, it has a lot of charm because like I said, there's, I think we had like 2 churches. We have 1 grocery store, 1 school. We didn't have a car, so we walked everywhere. And I always joke around with my friends, like, you know, how some people's parents will say, oh, back in my day, I had to walk to school through 2 feet of snow. And I'm like, I actually did have to do that. Like,
I did that too.
Yeah. That was normal. We had 2-3 feet of snow There was buses, but you have to pay for the bus. And my family didn't have a lot of money, so we would walk to school. And rain, cold, snow, winter, we would walk to school.
Is it still like that?
Like with the snow?
With the snow and walking?
Yeah. There's not as much snow anymore, but they still definitely get snow. And we do have 4 seasons. But winters are beautiful because there's a lot of snow. And then obviously we get fall and spring and summer also. But the winters are beautiful because here I feel like in Missouri it's cold and icy, but we don't get snow. Whereas in Poland, they definitely get a lot more snow.
When was the last time you were in Poland?
I want to say it was back in 2016.
And that was your first time ever since you moved here, or?
That was only my second time.
Second time, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so I've only been back twice, which I'm overdue. I need to go back and visit.
How was that experience for you?
It was interesting because obviously when I left Poland, I was 11 years old, so I was a kid, and I became an adult here in America. So going back to experience Poland as an adult was interesting to see. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but I kind of like Poland is my home. I was born there, but I kind of felt like an outsider a little bit, which was interesting because, you know, as an immigrant, I do feel welcomed here in America, but I don't feel like completely like I'm, you know, an American. And so I don't feel like fully American.
And you don't feel fully Polish.
Exactly. So I'm like, kind of just
where do
like
I belong
lost,
now?
Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes.
It was interesting. And then when I talk in Polish now, people say I have a strong American accent.
That was my next question, because last time I was in Russia, it was only after like 4 years of me living here, and people say that my tone and intonation and the way I approach people with, you know, a smile and kind of, I guess if you want to call it like a fake, you know, just like, oh yeah, how are you? Oh, I love your sweater or something like that. They're like, yeah, that's very much not Russian.
Yes.
No, we don't do that here. Did you forget? So, okay, going back to your hometown.
Yes.
You said that it's still unique and special for you. Any other small towns or lesser known destinations in Poland that you might recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, so Komańcza, my small town, is in Bieszczady, which is a region. And Bieszczady, I brought a map to kind of show you, but it is at the very southern tip of Poland.
Oh, okay.
And it borders Slovakia and Ukraine. And that's where a lot of mountains are. So Karpaty, the Carpathian, I think that's how you would say it in English, mountains are very beautiful. For people that do like, you know, outdoor stuff and hiking and nature. So Bieszczady and I would say the Karpaty Mountains are very beautiful to visit. And I feel like not a lot of people do, but I would recommend it, yeah.
So last time you visited, going back to that, I'm just really curious. Did you visit it with your now family? Do you have a husband? Do you have kids? I feel awkward asking this.
No, that's okay. I do have a fiance and he has a daughter.
Okay.
But at the time, it was just me and my little sister that went back to visit. And then my mom met us in our hometown. So I just went back with my family that I
just assumed that because I was stalking your Facebook before this interview, so I just saw the pictures and I was like, okay, so she's probably married now, and I was curious to know if you said your fiance. Did he went with you to Poland?
No, so at the time I was not with him. So it was just me, but I do plan on taking him because I think it would be like really cool to show him, you know, where I grew up and where I came from. And I'll tell him stories sometimes, you know, from my childhood. So I think it would be really cool to actually show him, and like he can put a picture and visual and a place behind the stories that I tell him. So I do plan on taking him, but he hasn't been to Poland yet.
So speaking of your fiance, does he have any misconceptions about how his trip is going to go in Poland?
So, I don't know, but I think the one thing that a lot of Americans think that Polish people do is drink vodka all the time.
I swear, this is the stereotype for every Slavic country. Here in America, they think if you're from Ukraine, Moldova, Poland, Slovakia, Belarus, Russia, you are drinking vodka 24/7. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Polish people like their vodka.
Well, yes, of course.
We like to have fun.
Yeah.
But it's not like we drink it breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
No.
But somehow there's that misconception.
So your fiance thinks he's going to get drunk?
Maybe. Yeah. So he might be a little excited.
Maybe for that. Yes. So anything else he's excited? Maybe food? How is Polish food?
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm excited for him to try. My mom used to live, in Siramba. She moved closer to Chicago now, but so she used to cook for me, and like I would come over on the weekends and have traditional Polish food. But now since she's kind of far away, I don't get to do that anymore. But I do want him to try like the traditional Polish food, and it's a lot of like pierogi. I don't know if you've heard of pierogi.
Of course. Yes.
So for those of you guys that don't know what pierogis are, they're like dumplings, and you can stuff them.
Different pierogi. I was thinking Russian pierogi that are like little pies.
Kind of, yeah.
But those are like
you can,
dumplings.
Like, stuff them. Okay, yeah.
So those are like vareniki.
Okay. So it's similar, probably.
Yes, similar but different, because those made out of like pie dough, these ones are the ones you boil in water.
Okay, see that's what I'm
your
talking
pierogi
about.
you boil in water, right? Yes, yeah. My boyfriend, when he told me, he was like, "Oh yeah, I've had pierogis before." I was like, "No, you have not. You've never had a Russian girlfriend before." And we were not on the same page because of that. Yes, so pierogi.
Yes, yeah. So you can like stuff them with different things, like cheese, or you can even do like a dessert pierogi, so like strawberries, blueberries, whatever you want. So that's like a very popular one. And then the polska kielbasa, Polish sausage.
Give me chills when you said it, because it sounded like you're speaking Russian. Kielbasa, kielbasa. We just say it with a different.
Yeah, that's why people think Polish and Russians
is the same thing. Yes, it's not. We speak different languages.
Yeah, but they are very similar. Sometimes when I hear a Russian conversation, I can pick up like
on some things,
certain parts, and I'm like, okay, they're talking about this. So
I'm always so paranoid talking to my mom in public and just like saying something that you would never say in Russia in public, but just like hate on something. Even though we don't do it that often, but like when we do, I'm always like, oh no, maybe there's somebody here listening, so maybe I should just
they know what I
zip
say.
it. Yes. So kielbasa.
Yep, Polish kielbasa. And then a lot of like sauerkraut, foods with sauerkraut. That's kind of like the staple of Polish cuisine. Yeah, a lot of sauerkraut. And then soups. We love our soups. So one that I've actually already had him try is barszcz czerwony, which is like soup made out of red beets. Borsz, yeah. Barszcz czerwony. So he's tried it and he actually likes it. Some of my friends that have tried it didn't like it very much, but he did like it. So, yeah.
I love how you pronounce those things, and I understand what you're saying, but it's the different saying. So I always ask my guests here on the show to teach me a little bit of their language, and I feel like this one will be the most successful one because we have the same pronunciation, the same dialect. So how do you say in Polish, where is the restroom?
Gdzie jest łazienka?
Gdzie jest Bożenka?
Łazienka.
Łazienka. Gdzie jest... No.
Łazienka.
I was like, this is going to be successful. This is the biggest fail. I pronounced all other languages like Thai languages, Spanish, and I'm failing on Polish. Gdzie jest...
Łazienka.
Łazienka. Okay, and how to say goodbye?
Do widzenia.
Do widzenia. See, it's do svidania in Russian, do widzenia. So it's still similar. You can kind of pick up on that. I would probably speak Polish after like living there for a year or maybe two.
You'd be a fluent.
Also, is that true if you have a family relative, like my great-grandpa was Polish. And yesterday I was talking to a lady from Ukraine, and she said that she lived in Poland for a certain amount of years. And she said that if you have a family relative, even if it's like a long-lost family relative from Poland, you can get a citizenship easier, and then you would be able to travel around the European Union without any visa.
That's a great question. I don't know. I think traveling within the European Union would definitely be easier.
Yeah.
With like a Polish passport. But I don't know.
You don't know about like family relative situation?
No.
Interesting. So if you know, let us know in the comments. Yes. All right. So let's talk about culture of Poland.
Yes.
How do you describe cultural identity of, how are Polish people?
I would say the first thing that comes into mind is family. Polish people are huge about, huge family people. We take care of our family. Family always comes first. And then health. Here in America, it's like this hustle culture where you work all the time and you don't stop working and you work on the weekends, you work on Sundays. In Poland, it's not like that. You don't work on weekends. You don't work on Sundays. A lot of stores are actually closed on Sundays, and people really, and vacations, like you get way more time off for vacations. And people really prioritize their families and their health. And then I would say Polish people are just very loyal, very hardworking, and then very direct, which is something people tell me that I am. And like sometimes I can come across a little like harsh and abrasive, and I'm like,
which I love, because this makes me feel like home. I'm like off air, off this recording. I was telling her that I love that you're so straight to the point. You answer my question within like 3 sentences, and I get what I want.
Yeah. That's kind of how Polish people are. Just straight to the point and direct, and we make our point across. And it's not that we're rude or we don't care about the other people. That's just kind of like our culture and our how we communicate. So
do Polish people speak English?
Most of them, yes. Yeah.
So if you were to go to the capital of the country, you would not have any trouble finding people and finding help in English?
No.
Okay.
And actually, growing up in Poland, when I was still in school there, you are required to take a second language in school. So I actually took 2. I took English and I took Ukrainian. So a lot of Polish people do actually speak English. It may be broken English, but they do speak English. And I always tell my friends that ask me about traveling to, Europe or other countries, they ask me if they'll be able to get by with just English. And I always say that English is like the world language.
Yeah, it's a universal language.
It's a universal language. If you know English, you're going to be able to get by. I think it's important to at least learn like basics, just as a generous thing whenever you are visiting a different country. So hello, goodbye, thank you, excuse me. I would say that's a polite thing to do, and it just makes you stand out from other people that travel there. But if you know English, then you'll be
fine.
Able to get by.
Is dobrze means okay?
Dobrze, yeah, look at you.
No, I just know it from the movie, and I was thinking about like how would I communicate in Poland? I would probably try to say something in Russian, and people might understand me. I feel like if I say "помогите мне,"
say that again.
Помогите.
Can you help me?
Yes. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, you understood that. Or like, привет.
I don't know what привет means.
No, it's hi.
Hi, okay.
Or здравствуйте. No? How do you say hi in Polish?
Dzień dobry or cześć.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
Okay. Dzień dobry. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep. Yeah. Dobrze. I'll just say that. Dobrze.
Yep.
Can you share any tips or advice for travelers who are planning to visit Poland for the first time?
So like I said before, I would just say you can get by with knowing English, but it's just a polite thing to know a couple like words in Polish. And then transportation. I don't know if it's changed since I've been there, but people take buses, people take trains, and that's actually very popular in the entire Europe to travel by trains and buses. So I think they would have like Ubers now, but if you're wanting to see like, different cities and go all over the country, you're probably going to have to navigate through buses and trains.
What about nature in Poland?
Yeah.
How is it?
So like where I'm from?
Or just in general in the country? You mentioned about mountains.
Yeah. So we have a variety of different like places. So like southern Poland, where I'm from, there's mountains, and then northern Poland, Gdańsk. That's another beautiful city. It's on the Baltic Sea. So you get some beaches. And so, yeah, you can get a variety of different environments.
Interesting. And is there a specific time of year that people should look into going to Poland? Maybe there is a festival or celebration some sort in that country for people to see.
I don't know about any festivals, but definitely don't go during winter.
Don't go?
Because it does get cold in the winter and there's snow. So I would say like spring, summer, or even like fall time would be perfect to go to Poland.
Well, awesome. And finally, what is something that every traveler should bring with them from Poland after their trip?
After their trip to Poland, I would say just try some pierogis.
Okay.
Because they're just so good and they're like a staple of Poland. And then, since we are known for vodka, that's actually where vodka originated from back in 1405. I would say just try some Polish vodka. Maybe sneak some on the plane back home with you. That way you can share it with your friends. So,
yes.
Pierogis and vodka.
Perfect. Well-rounded trip.
Yes.
Welcome back. You're listening to the American Dream Podcast, and I'm here with Paulina from Poland. This half of the podcast, I'm closing my laptop because it's my favorite half. I always get to see fun items from different countries, and usually those items are also very sentimental for the person that brings them. So I see you have shoes, a mug, money, and a magnet of some sort on the table. So I'm going to leave this up to you, whichever item you want it to be first, and tell me about it.
Yes. So I brought my show and tell items. The first one I brought is the money. So in Poland, we have złoty. We do not do euros. It's złoty. So I just wanted to bring this and you can look at it.
Interesting.
So, that's what Polish money looks like.
So this is 50. How many dollars is that?
I don't remember what the conversion was. I think that's about maybe $15-ish.
$15?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, in Russia, I believe it's 70 rubles for $1.
Okay. So that's my first item is złoty.
Awesome.
And then I also brought this mug, which is Polish pottery. So
interesting.
Poland is very famous for Polish pottery. And if you've seen like the blue design, that's kind of symbolic of like the Polish pottery, which kind of leads me to my next one, which is tea. Because we drink a lot of tea in Poland.
Black tea or green tea?
All kinds of different tea.
With sugar?
I like mine with sugar. I remember my grandma would drink hers without sugar. So I'm sure as you get older, your taste buds change. But, and still today, I love my tea. Sometimes in the morning, like instead of coffee, I'll just drink tea, or at night, like.
So you did not Americanized for coffee?
No.
No?
I prefer tea over coffee.
Yes, yeah, me too. Coffee is just so unfair because it wakes you up better. So that's why but it hurts your stomach.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, I don't understand how Americans can drink so much coffee and just like not be on a toilet for all day.
Exactly.
So,
so there's that.
The beautiful mug. Do you use this or is this just for like a display?
I do use that one, yeah. Yes, that's my favorite one that I use.
Yes. Do you have any more of those or did you just bring one?
I have more. I don't have any mugs, but I do have like bowls and other decorative pieces at home. This is the only one that I actually do use, but I do have other decorative pieces at home.
Let's actually place it closer to the camera so people can see this.
Yeah.
And if you're just listening to us, make sure you check out our YouTube at the American Dream Podcast to see all of these items that Paulina brought in the studio. So we have 50, what is the currency again?
Złoty. 50 złoty.
Yep. 50 złoty. How is 50 in Polish, by the way?
50.
50.
50 złoty.
50. Polish is so difficult. It's so hard for me to pronounce for some reason.
It's a lot of like sh.
Yes, it's a lot of sh.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I've heard that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the numbers are very difficult in Polish to pronounce.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cztery.
Cztery.
That was perfect.
Cztery. Okay, well, because it sounds like четыре in Russian, and dva is two in both of our languages, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But sound challenging. I cannot imagine Americans trying to learn this language.
Oh, it's funny.
Yes. So we have a mug tea. So did you buy this tea here locally?
I did, yeah.
And is this Polish tea?
I don't think so.
It's just a tea?
Yeah, I think that's just a tea that I bought here, probably at Walmart.
And also you have shoes.
Yes. So these are house slippers. And I couldn't find mine, so I took my fiance's with me. He's probably looking for them right now.
They look very warm.
Yeah, they are. So in Poland, and that's another like shocking thing that I found when coming to America, is people wear their house shoes in their homes.
Oh, yes.
And in Poland, you don't do that. That's disrespectful. When you come to somebody's home, you take your shoes off as soon as you walk in. Yes. And I still have that habit. When I go to somebody else's home, I ask them, do you want me to take my shoes off?
And people always look at you like
why are you asking me? No.
Yes.
But in Poland, so you take your shoes off. You don't bring your outside shoes into your home. And usually we'll wear you have house shoes, you have slippers or something, but you do not wear your shoes in your house. And I've noticed that with like other countries, Eastern European countries too.
Yes. In Russia, it's the same exact tradition. Yeah. In fact, I had to force my American boyfriend to buy himself slippers because I was like, you are not allowed to live with me if you will be walking around in your outside shoes. And the same thing for like outside jackets too. Like I have a specific, dedicated place to it for shoes, for jackets. I just think it's disgusting when you walk around in your outside shoes. You like step on poop and then you bring it inside.
Bring it into your home.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, you don't know like what kind of dirt you're walking into.
No, and microbes too. All the viruses. Gross.
Lots of germs out there. So that's why I brought that.
So your fiance wears this on a daily basis now? You had to teach him how to do that? Was he okay with that?
He was okay with it. I think he actually likes it.
Okay.
So
did he fight you on this at all?
No.
Did he say no, I'll just walk around barefoot?
Nope, he did not. And actually these his daughter and I picked these out for him. It was one of his birthday gifts, but no, he loves it. Like he wears these all the time. So,
well, they do look very comfortable.
Yeah.
I was just worried because they look so warm that some American people would say, "Oh, I'm very hot," in my feet, so I would not wear something like that.
Yeah. Well, he has different ones. So these are usually his winter ones in the cold months, but he has different ones. But yeah, he didn't fight me at all. I don't do as good of a job now as taking my shoes off sometimes, but usually I'll take my shoes off and I try not to wear my outside shoes in the house.
Yes. Yeah. I do the same thing. It's either I take them off and I just walk around in socks, but that's if I'm not planning to stay inside for a long time, or if I absolutely have to, I will run through my place in my outside shoes to grab something that I need urgently. So that is the only exceptions to the rule. But then slippers.
Yep.
Only slippers. All right. So the next thing I see is a magnet.
Yes. So this is actually the outline of the country of Poland. And inside it has ambers. So amber is very
I see
popular.
You have a bracelet too.
Yes. And I also have a bracelet. So it's very popular in Poland. And
beautiful.
Yeah. It's known for that deep orange yellow color. And so people make jewelry out of it or decorative pieces like this.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Is this a magnet or not?
It is a magnet. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's so cute. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love this. What is this called in English?
Amber.
Okay. I actually, believe it or not, when I was maybe 5 through 7 years old, I had a necklace like this.
Yeah.
And I wore it for straight, 2 years until I broke it on accident. Never took it off.
Yeah.
I always loved this.
Yeah. I used to have a necklace too. And I remember having earrings and all kinds of different stuff. So you can actually, if you visit Gdańsk, which is a city on the Baltic Sea in Poland, you can just walk down the street and there's going to be little places set up where you can buy all kinds of different things with amber and jewelry with amber. So
is it expensive for American people to buy in
so.
Poland? No,
I don't think so.
No. So would you recommend that as a souvenir to bring with you from Poland?
That would be a good souvenir from Poland. Very symbolic.
And probably
Poland.
some tea.
And some tea.
And vodka.
And vodka.
Well, thank you so much for visiting me today, Paulina. I enjoyed learning about Poland, trying to pronounce Polish language that I failed
really
completely. You don't have to be nice about it. And seeing all these beautiful items that you brought. Thank you so much for visiting.
So much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for tuning in to the American Dream Podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on your favorite platform. Keep dreaming and see you next time.